Everything that you do in your day-to-day life was created by Black people. You all can dime out about it. Sorry. History shows it. It is a global gaslighting of Black people. They want all of you to believe that they are not superior in thought, innovation, creativity, socializing, building, everything. They are superior in everything. I have seen the evidence. It is clear. And it is obvious that there is a global gaslighting from every fucking race on this planet, or whatever the fuck we're on. You all are trying to make Black people feel like they are not superior, and they are.
Some real gaslighting to enslave people and then create the stereotype that they're lazy. How you come up with that? Some of the people who built the nation, that's the lazy people. And we have been so brainwashed, we believe we have to convince people it's not true by being so busy, by grinding, by hustling, by showing up for everything, signing up for everything. God said, you are already stardust. You are already sacred.
What's up, good family? Welcome back to the channel. I am the Kenyan Beast, and of course I am doing it the African way. That's my way. Thank you for the subscription. Thank you for 80k subscribers. I appreciate and I love you so much. Keep subscribing, keep watching, keep sharing, keep me here, because I need to be here. I need to talk to you. So if you are new here, hit the subscription button and like this video and turn on notification bell, because over here we keep it real, unfiltered, unapologetic, and black fast. Now, family, it is time to rant. It is time to talk. I want to talk with you. Okay? Black people ain't failing for the gaslighting anymore. For centuries, they have used manipulation, lies, and guilty tricks to keep us silent, confused, and doubting ourselves. We keep on doubting ourselves as Black people because they have been using tricks on us. Okay? They have been using lies on us. But not anymore. Not anymore. This generation, we are too sharp, too aware, too educated, too bold. So today I'm going to talk, or to break this down for you, the history of how they gaslight us, or they gaslighted us, the way they are still doing it today, and why it's not working anymore, and exactly how to handle it. But before I go down to that video, I want you to watch these clips that I've played you here to support my thoughts that Black people ain't falling for the gaslighting. Watch these clips first, and after watching it, let's come back here and continue the rant.
What I need Black Americans to understand is that we don't have no diaspora unity, and we don't have any POC allyship. These past few days, even weeks, when you get on TikTok, all you see is Black Americans being slandered by every other racial group and ethnicity group. We got Africans trying to tell us our history and that, and where we come from and all this other stuff. Then you got the whole Zulu parade argument with the South Africans, and then you got the West Africans joining in, all kind of stuff. Then you got us going against the Native Americans. Then you got us going against the Mexicans, the Arabs, and the freaking Chinese and Asians. When are we going to realize we have no allies? And I really want us to stop thinking that. Like, we really don't have any allies. We're at the bottom of the barrel and nobody likes us. That's why they're all attacking us at once. All these other racial groups and all these other ethnicities are literally ganging up to go against us. And y'all don't see it? I guess I'm the only person that sits here and sees it. Every time I see a live on TikTok, it's always mentioning us. Black Americans this, Black Americans that, African Americans this. And it's like, bro, we're literally the topic of the conversation. These people know who we are, they know the power we hold, and they know that we're awakening, and they're trying to suppress that because everybody benefited from us not knowing who we are and not knowing our true power. And now that we're tapping into it, it's making them mad. And that's why they're attacking us. Y'all gotta lock in. Whether a lot of them want to admit it or not, a lot of these other racial groups and ethnicity groups need us to survive. And now that we're not giving them that survival no more, they're going crazy, bro. I'm telling y'all. Watch what happens when we stop investing to the Arab stores, the Chinese stores, and the African stores. Watch what happens. I promise you it's going to get worse. Their true colors are really going to show. Stop paying your taxes. The Native Americans won't get funded no more. A lot of these foreign countries won't get any more aid from the United States because guess who money that they're sending overseas? Our money. Come on now, you gotta lock in. It's time for us to realize that this whole world relies on our back. This whole world functions because of us. And once we take that power back, oh, it's gonna be over with for everybody else. They're not gonna know what to do. But guess what? We always gonna survive. So stop arguing with all these people. Stop going back and forth with these people because it's not worth it. They're upset, they're angry, they're jealous, they're miserable because they know who we are and they're trying to keep us from finding out who we are.
Listen up. This video is for you delusional ass people who are going around here saying that Donald Trump pardoned the January 6th rioters because of injustices that exist in the criminal justice system, and in the process try to throw black people into the conversation, saying we should understand why he pardoned them because black people have been the victims of unjust system. Stop it. You didn't care about the injustice black people received in the criminal justice system for the last 150 years. And now you want to throw us into the mix and saying we should understand because your president has pardoned over 600 people that engaged in violent acts actually on the Capitol on January 6th. And now you want to say, well, black people, you all should understand he's doing this because the criminal justice system is so unfair. Spare us, leave us out of it because you don't really care about how unfair the criminal justice system has been to black people for over 150 years.
Tried patient rational discourse with the white friends I couldn't keep for years, but I came to realize that they weren't seeking mutual understanding. When they said things like, I don't see what race has to do with that, or how is racism a factor, or whatever, they weren't asking me to explain these things to them. They'd already come to their conclusion about racial injustice, and they were just using some quasi-Socratic method to suggest that my perception of reality can't be trusted. That's to say, they hope to escape the charge that their world is built on the breaking of black bodies by claiming that black people are just imagining that the system of racial economic exploitation and oppression established by their predecessors is still working today. There's a word for that.
Let's dissect a debate exchange between Charlie Kirk and a black student at Texas A&M so I can show you exactly what we mean when we say he's a disingenuous, manipulative, performative entertainer who has no intention of actually helping students or advancing political discourse.
Do not say that because of slavery and because of the past, black people have started behind, and the wealth gap has started behind because we have had to catch up because of certain jobs that you can't get, and I'm more likely to be passed over for a job position just based off my name. So what would you say to that?
It's a little noisy, but what the student is asking for is for Charlie to respond to the idea of intergenerational poverty, systemic racism, and specifically slavery, and its historical impact on intergenerational wealth. So how does Charlie respond?
Respectfully, no. We as conservatives reject this idea of intergenerational, holding people back intergenerationally. We're all individuals that can make decisions.
First of all, how convenient for you, Charlie, for a white Christian married multimillionaire as a member of the most privileged class in the most privileged country in human history to believe that people who do not share your same privileged traits at the same time do not face greater barriers in their path to prosperity. How callously brazen of you to stand in front of thousands of people speaking to a teenage black man in Texas and deny his experience as a black man, to deny the experiences of his parents that have been taught to him, and to deny the data on healthcare, school quality, grades and graduation rates, college admissions, hiring and promotions, wage gain, loan approval rates, maternal mortality rates, cancer survival rates, and life expectancy itself. I'm sorry, Charlie, but out of convenience, you do not get to simply reject proven facts corroborated by lived experiences any more than I get to reject the existence of gravity simply because I want to fly. Systemic racism is real, and to tell a young black man anything but that truth is nothing more than malicious gaslighting. How to address this proven systemic racism, governments, universities, and employers attempted to experiment with a set of new policies and processes that seek to identify and neutralize the causes of inequity, to ensure equal access to opportunity and also the opportunity to achieve equal outcomes. And this is where Charlie disingenuously mischaracterizes these initiatives known as DEI.
Here's the difference in worldview. DEI is very outcome-based, meaning that we are going to prevent otherwise qualified white and Asians to be able to get a position because we want to try to even the score. We are opportunity-based. We want to try to make it so that people have opportunity, but if there's different outcomes, then so be it.
Now, to be very plain, what Charlie is saying here is that he doesn't like DEI because leveling the playing field makes it more difficult for people who benefit from systemic privilege to take advantage of that privilege at the expense of marginalized people. At the same time, this is a comically inaccurate description of DEI. It's almost like he doesn't know that it's not the same thing as affirmative action or just quotas, because DEI is in fact the opposite. If you look up these programs, you'll see that these initiatives are actually incredibly basic and almost exclusively input-based. Things like removing names and photos from resumes and loan applications, mentorship programs for people who are members of marginalized communities and who aren't naturally surrounded by mentors, and independent pay audits to make sure that marginalized people aren't getting paid the same or less for superior work. In other words, these programs seek to make merit the only thing that matters, and that is why people like Charlie Kirk are so afraid of them. They understand that without the privilege of their name, skin color, gender, or religion, they would have to compete with everyone on a level playing field on merit alone. And to them, that idea is absolutely terrifying.
Welcome back. I hope you have had the videos. Let me rant my way. I'm going to talk about the history of gaslighting because I've gone back to the history, and that is the best thing of us preserving our history. We don't need to erase it, because if you erase the history, somebody like me could not go back and know some things that I'm knowing right now. Okay? Gaslighting started the very moment they enslaved black people and tried to call it civilization. You get that? They kidnapped, enslaved, tortured black people, and they said it is for your own good. That's gaslighting. They said you are better off being a slave because Africa is poor and backward. Meanwhile, it was African resources that built the entire economy. They used the African resources to build their empires. But they will tell you, Africa is poor and backward. Let me talk about how they tried to gaslight our ancestors who fought back against slavery. They called them savages when they revolted. They said, see how violent these people are. See how violent black people are. But who was the violent one? The one who kidnapped or the kidnappee? Who is the violent one here? There's some things I never understand. Between the system and black people, who is the violent? Between the one who is kidnapping someone and the one who has been kidnapped, who is violent? The one who built the entire empire of stolen land and stolen people. He is civilized. They told us that slavery was in the past, that we should move on. They always say that even right now. While at the same time building generational wealth of black people backs. Every time black people try to rise up, when black people try to rise up, they use the same trick. You are overreacting. It's not that serious. Stop playing the victim. Those are the kind of words they are using against black people. And they have been gaslighting black people out of justice since day one. But let me tell you, black people remember everything. That's a good thing. We always remember everything. Even if we don't remember, we write it down. We remember our history. During civil rights movement, there's some things they did to black people. One, they bombed black churches. They eliminated civil rights leaders. They beat black women and children. They turned around and said, why are black people always causing trouble? Why can't you just be peaceful? You know, I will say that is gaslighting on steroids. That's what I will say. Somebody kills you and blames you for dying. Do you get that? Even Martin Luther King, a man who preached peace, was called dangerous. They spied on him, spread lies on him. They tried to destroy his reputation, and they removed him from earth, then used his speeches against black people by twisting his words. I will say that is next level of gaslighting. And you know what worries me a lot, or what's crazy about that, because they are still doing it up to today. They are still doing it up to today. The system is always built against black people. The quote of Martin Luther King to black people, he said, don't judge people by color. But they never quote the part where he said, America owes black people a check. They just quote the part that favors them, but they never quote the part that say America owes black people a check. So that's selective memory, manipulation, and gaslighting. And I want to bring here in today what I'm seeing today. Right now, I'm seeing a lot of things on the internet. When I read the news, I see a lot of things and I see a lot of gaslighting. I want to talk about police brutality. They remove black people from the face of the earth on camera and say that maybe they shouldn't have resisted. You know, that if you resist, they remove you. They eliminate you and they will say you are resisting. But what about unarmed black people who did not resist but still died? What about Taylor, Tamir Rice, Sandra Blunt? A lot. We have a lot who did not resist. They were unarmed but still died. I will talk number 2 on my list of gaslighting nowadays is the racism in the workplace. They will tell you we hire based on merit, but you are telling me out of all these applications, you couldn't find a qualified black American? Yes? That is playing. That's really playing. Number 3, in the education sector, they cut funding from black schools. Then they say, why don't these communities value education? They make it difficult for our black kids to go to school, but they will blame us because of that, you know? So the system undermine black education and then blame black people for the results. You see that? Number 4, I'll talk about the wealth gap. They talk about the generational gap, but forget that black people were locked out when white people were getting rich. Black people were locked out when black people or when others were talking about housing programs, loans, and jobs for decades. So why should you say that? And yet you know you are the real reason behind everything, you know? Right now they'll say that black people are not investing. They gaslight us by ignoring the entire system they built to keep us out and act like we are just made bad choices. They are using other communities to do that too. Right now, black people have studied the game now. We have done that and we are not falling for this. For the tricks, for the lies, for everything, we are not falling for this. And you know what else? Gaslighting ain't always loud anymore. Sometimes it is just, sometimes it is subtle. You know, they smile in your face. They smile in your face while they tell you, we don't see color here. How? You smiling at me, looking at me. Why are you not seeing color? I'm black, you're white. They smile at your face and say that I don't see racism, or I don't think racism is bad anymore. That it's not there anymore. That you people just talk about race, you know? So I'll say this. They have been always playing psychological welfare to black people. In Africa, they have used psychological welfare. Black Americans, they have used psychological welfare, and they are too good on that. So that's why we need to be so much attentive and we need to be so much vigilant. And that's a setup to make you look like the problem. Whenever you speak, you think the problem is always yours. Whenever you show up, you think you are always your problem. So you doubt yourself. And that's what they did to Africa. They gaslight Africans, and Africans, they don't believe in Africa. A lot of them, they don't. They move, they go away, you know, go and build some people's empire, you know. But I think that season is done. Right now, I think black people are so much attentive and they are so much, I'll say what? Vigilant, you know. They are so much vigilant because I think black people are done with this gaslighting because right now, we are not begging for understanding anymore. We are not explaining basic history anymore. We are not wasting time arguing with people who are committed to misunderstand us, because even if you explain anyhow, they are built to misunderstand you. So you don't fight gaslighting with debates. You fight it by standing firm in the truth. You fight it by standing firm in your lane. And because when you know the truth, no one can move you. And that's why they are trying to erase the black people history. That's why they are trying to whitewash the history. That's why they are trying to hide the truth from anyone, Right now, black people globally are waking up. That's for sure. Black people are waking up, and that's why you are seeing more dispections from racists, from corporation, from politicians. They are scared of the confident black population. They are scared of a united black population. I told you each and every time, united black population is a threat. United black population is our weapon, main weapon. Because once we are united, we are strong. But once we are divided, we're too weak. They are scared because we don't need their approval anymore. We don't. They are scared because black people don't need permission to build. Scared because black people don't need permission to grow, don't need permission to speak. The lies don't work anymore right now. The lies that have been on us don't work anymore. The manipulation didn't work anymore. The guilty trips doesn't work anymore. So we as black people, we are waking up, okay? And if you don't believe me just now, just look at how many black creators, black entrepreneurs, black thinkers are rising up with no concern from the mainstream. Just look how many black creators you have watched today in Africa, starting from Wodemaya, Eugene from Kenya, or Eugene Doc Stories, Twins Hangout, African Streamline, a lot of them, Kenyan Explorer. I've seen a lot, Ellie from Africa. So a lot of creators are coming out because we are educating. We are trying to show that we have something to say. Okay? So what do we need to do? Black people, stop explaining yourself to people who don't want to understand. Because somehow I think there's just people who don't want to understand. Just some people who don't want to understand, like they don't, So let's protect our energy. Protect your energy as Black American. Protect your mind. Okay? Move with love for your people. Let's love each other. Don't fall for the traps. Don't fall for the baits. And right now, things they're trying to do is gaslighting. But I'm happy. Black people are like, we are not falling for the bait. This season, or the season of gaslighting is over. That movie is over. We have changed again. We have moved from compacts to CDs. Now it's to internet. So we are evolving. And once we are evolving, it's just about actions. We are doing actions as Black people. It's about building. It's about self-love. It's about truth. It's about us as Black people. About independence. You see that? So I just love what I'm seeing from my Black brothers. And I just love how some white people are like, okay, things is getting worse. We need to talk to educating ourselves. Because if you get white people who are educating their own, I think that's awesome. Everyone needs to know. We need to write our history, preserve our history as Black people. And the history starts from Africa. Each and every Black American, Jamaican, Trinidadian, Haitian, Grenadian, you know that the history starts from here. So if you need to preserve the history, come and start from here. So if this message is home, please hit the subscription button. I'm so happy. Let's go to 100K subscribers and see what is unfolding. Thank you.